Hi guys, welcome to Vibrant Expansion.
Welcome.
Hi Lona.
Hey.
Welcome to the show. So I'm not sure who our guest is today anymore.
I know.
I'm pretty sure
We're all the guests.
So the guests are all here. I did turn down the AC.
I've already
so
been
it
in
should
an
be-
interview, so you guys probably remember me.
She is pretty famous.
Seven's famous.
The
So
kid with the podcast.
So my main guest today is Matt Addison, and then I've got my kids, Compass and Seven, and Lona,
Her third child.
Don't know
Yes.
that child at all.
I'm
And,
a donation.
Matt's all about inner child and
Yeah.
being the person that you wish was there for you when you were younger.
Don't take my glasses.
Wait. Hey guys, I'm Matt Addison.
Hey guys, I'm 7.
Seven's not part of the club. She's gonna put her glasses down. So how do you guys know Matt? Because all three of you know Matt.
Aikido.
Aikido.
And here, friends.
And here right now.
Her
She knows
resident
Matt
body.
from here right now.
Oh, that's kind of deep. I like it.
From here.
The present moment is nigh.
The girls took Aikido with Matt for a while. We'll cycle back around to that at some point. How long have you been teaching for?
I have started teaching 2 months after I started training.
I forgot this is studious. This is our studious.
Oh yeah.
Matthew. How long have you been teaching Aikido?
Yes, let me just rewind the clock and
Yes.
circle back as you
Tell us.
said. No, I've been teaching for just about 8 years now.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's how long
awesome.
I've been dancing.
That's how long you've been dancing.
Well, 8 years now. Same.
Well, it's
No,
pretty
9.
pretty funny is the fact that I've been
You're younger than me. I know I've been You're younger than me, so how is that possible?
Girls.
inner
This is-
children. Inner children.
Yep.
Inner child likes to compete with other people to prove that we matter. But I'm Matt, and I'm here to tell you that you matter. So,
That tells you that you matter.
oh,
Oh.
she
I
sleeps.
think I just said it.
Yeah. Oh wait, can you drop the mic?
Oh, thank you.
Drop the mic.
Oh, go get your microphone. One is
The pin is mightier than this microphone. But I thought it was funny because I actually teach. I started teaching like literally 2 months after I started training in Tampa. Probably for one reason, the teacher is kind of over teaching the kids.
Yeah.
And I was just coming there early just to like practice my board rolls and stuff like that. And I just so entranced or enchanted really with Aikido that I kind of just kept coming early. And I was there for the kids class, so I'm just like, I guess I'll help.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then everyone just was like, "You're so good with kids," and I'm like, "Really? I didn't know this was a
Really?
skill set."
I hit somebody. Someone hit me. Jack, you hit my stat. You hit my Joe. You hit Joe? How dare you hit Joe? Yes, he's in.
No, it really is because not everybody has that. Like not everybody flows that well, and even like just watching the classes, like I was like, this is the best kids class ever for Aikido because you really did like you have this natural way of just being with kids, and you're a kid at heart. Look at that. Yeah, she has Nutella on her chin.
Nutella. It's Nutella.
I thought it was cool,
Nutella.
but
Yeah.
okay. So yeah,
It's
I am
Nutella.
a child, ain't I?
You are.
I am-
What?
Inner child.
I just came. Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Moving on. So Aikido, that I know you and I have talked about like different aspects of Aikido, and there's you kind of use those same. What would you say is the general premise of it, first of all, and then taking that premise and like how you told me you apply it into different parts of life and different aspects of life, whether it's thoughts or verbal or all of that.
So Aikido to me isn't like it is a style of martial arts, but I honestly think of it as instructions on how to live your life. And if you look at the name, which is just three Japanese words, like compressed into one name, we've learned Aikido. It's Aikido, which means loosely the way to harmonize with energy. And I can also be found in the Chinese language as love.
No way.
Yeah. So like if I was Chinese, I'd say "wo ai ni," which means I love you. And I know, funny to hear that, especially from my mouth. And then there's also ki in Japanese is energy, which you can Japanese basically stole the entire Chinese alphabet and language, just saying, and just changed it a little bit. But ki is chi, like
Right.
energy. Ki and chi, same thing. And do is the way. You might hear judo, the gentle way. Judo is another martial art. And so do is more like the way how you live your life. And maybe some people have heard of the term Buddha.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Budo is the martial way. So the way you just it's a lifestyle. It's a code of honor. Like, the knights would have codes, and so just like the samurais. Not to say that all samurais were created equal. There were some pretty messed up samurais that they would just cut you down in the street just to test their sword.
So they weren't really following.
There were certain samurais that were just all around bad, just like there's good and bad doctors and good and bad dancers, right? We all know that, right?
I mean, did you ever watch Samurai Champloo?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember there's so many scenes where they run into these not so good samurais, but then there's the samurais that actually have integrity.
Like Gene.
Gene is.
He was like that is not the way.
What about that guy that burned people in lava and he was a samurai and rode a horse and his name started with a K and a J or something?
I have not heard of this man. What show is it from?
It's just a person from a long time ago.
Did Matt tell you
Like
about
a
it?
real person?
Yeah, a real person from a long time ago.
He burned people with lava?
Yeah.
Oh, so Matt didn't tell you about this. This wasn't
I don't know a real person that can burn people with lava. We're talking about a volcano.
No.
So yeah, I mean Aikido is
Aikido.
is just the way you live your life. So instruction wise, it's how can I harmonize with all energy around me so that everyone can flourish in the situation, and instead of they're promoting a win-lose situation where has to be a winner and there has to be a loser, and instead of that that breeds competition. And competition isn't bad necessarily, but competition can be used for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Are you competing with yourself, making sure that you are trying to be a better version?
Right.
People,
right.
I was just thinking about this on the way over here, actually, about that guy who something happened to his foot. He was climbing a mountain, and to a watch. It might have been from a movie. Who knows?
I know it all blends together.
You know,
Was that news or a movie?
It's reality. It's all one reality. But he had a watch, and that watch saved his life because he needed to get back down the mountain because he broke his foot, and he kept making little goals for himself, little challenges. He would say, I'm gonna get to that point before this minute hand goes all the way around, and he would do that just to create a challenge for himself, but it saved his life. So challenges and competition can be done and be used for the right reasons, I think, but at the same time, I feel especially in this society and this civilization in America, we've been bred to hate our competitor.
Right.
Instead of looking at them with more of an idea that this person's actually helping me get better.
Right.
And that's why Aikido is a partner exercise, is because we both have, if Seven and Compass were working together in Aikido, they both have an equal, responsibility for each other's learning.
Right.
if Compass doesn't give 7 a honest strike or attack, then 7 is practicing falsely. She's getting prepared for an attack that's never going to actually happen.
Right.
Because no one's going to attack her like that.
Right.
People are going to be much more aggressive, much more mean. So actually, I would say all the little sister arguments they have back and forth actually is a good thing, because as long as they're trying to practice their Aikido verbally,
Right.
they can actually practice, like, how can I make peace with this person, and instead of trying to go back and forth and start a fight.
Right. Like come to a resolution.
Yeah, and you guys are kids. There's adults that have trouble doing this. Doesn't matter. There's people at the age of 80 still. I worked at a retirement home. I've seen 89-year-olds have little tiny arguments and quarrels. Again, not a bad thing. Nothing wrong with arguments, but don't hate the other person.
Right.
Figure out, it's just an opportunity for you to see a different perspective. And if you can try to see that different perspective, or at least come back and say, hey, you know what? You're right. I wasn't looking at things from your point of view. Let's are you open to seeing things from my point of view? That usually calms the situation down when you agree with the other person.
Well, and sometimes it takes time to be able to see their point of view on things, but whenever you do, it's this epiphany kind of feeling where you think, wow, that's really cool, because I wasn't necessarily seeing that, and how interesting. You can look at it that way, how interesting is it that I didn't see that perspective, and how cool is it that that person gifted me the ability to see that other perspective. And it reminds me, I saw this meme either this morning or last night. All that stuff runs together too. It could have been a month ago, but it was recently. And I saw this meme that was basically saying, say thank you to everybody that's triggering you right now, because it's bringing to the surface things that need to be healed. So it kind of reminds, it's a different concept, but it kind of reminds me of that, where somebody, cuts you off in traffic and you're like, or you're getting stressed out or frustrated. And then you realize, if you allow yourself to have the awareness of what's happening, then you can actually take that and use it as a learning moment and go, wow, I realize I get frustrated when that happens. Okay. And you can kind of find those things. But so that's a really good thing that I think, even with yoga, thinking about that, just any type of, because I think Aikido has a lot of mindfulness to it, because you're not just fighting, and it's not about, I guess it is a defensive type of thing, but it's more of a peaceful. Would you even say it is defensive, or is it more?
It is defensive in certain ways. It's defending yourself, but in a harmonious way with the other person, right? Because the other person is trying to attack you, whether verbally or physically. And, you understand that, okay, they're having a bad day. Maybe they were abused when they were younger.
Right.
I don't know their journey and their issues. So how can I, try to talk this situation down so there is no physical confrontation or verbal confrontation? How can I agree with them? And that is a defense in a way, because you're defending yourself. But instead of defending yourself where the other person has to permanently be disabled and get really, really hurt, right. There has to be another way,
right? And
there should always be another way. And as long as you can practice seeing those ways more and more, you start to see that there is another way, and you start to see the other options.
Right.
Take notes, children, because life doesn't get much easier. You're always gonna have confrontation with people.
Yeah.
You can't stop it. So how can I, not put as much energy into the confrontation? I say Aikido is a pretty lazy martial art.
Right.
Because we want the biggest effect with the least amount of effort. And the path of least resistance.
Right. Yeah.
Bruce Lee even talks about it. Be like walk down my friend. And so it's how can I be at peace with things that are trying to attack me? Why do I feel offended by that person and what they're doing?
Right.
I have taken notes.
Why are you taking my pillow?
It was in my face.
I took notes. Well, it's in my lap.
Took notes?
So yes, I put Aikido is a raising martial art and be like water.
Yes.
Yes. Keynote.
And
If
be
there's
like
anything,
water.
there's anything that you took away from today, be like water is a good one. And Aikido is a lazy martial art. As you can see, I look pretty chill, and everyone always says I'm pretty chill, but at the same time, like, you know, muscle and energy is special. Like, you know, that,
Yeah.
like, I get to choose. That's my free will. I get to choose what I put my energy into. And if someone's attacking me, I'm not going to give them as much energy as they want.
Right.
You know, they want you. They expect you to fight back.
Right.
Their goal here is to insult you. I mean, just like we saw earlier with Seven and Compass, like
Who's that?
Compass literally came over and started bugging Seven while she was playing the guitar, and of course Seven retaliated because it was annoying.
Right.
So, but that's exactly what Compass wanted. And Compass wouldn't have stopped until Seven retaliated.
It's all a game.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a game.
It is. So I disagree.
Compass. Yeah, I couldn't see you.
Genghis Khan.
Oh, Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Genghis.
Genghis.
He's who invented Jenga.
He's a game. Life is a game.
Genghis Khan.
So yeah, it's Aikido. That's the reason why. First, of course, I'm gonna say this because when I first started Aikido, I got mugged. Like, I got pistol whipped on the back of my head.
How long into it after you?
Actually, no, this is before Aikido. This is the reason why I started Aikido.
Oh, okay.
And I got mugged. You know, obviously I wasn't hanging out with the best crowd, but they were friends. Like, and you know, like I knew them before they were doing shady stuff.
Right.
But they were still friends, and you know, just hanging out outside, listening to music. There was three of my friends, including me. That's 4 people. And 3 guys with guns came around my friend's car, pistol whipped me, pulled him out of the car, and just pointed their guns at me, and you know, made me like take off my pants and like took all my stuff. Ironically, they didn't take my keys to my motorcycle, and they took the wrong phone. I literally just got an iPhone that day, and they took the iPhone, but they didn't take my phone because I haven't actually activated.
The activated one.
Yeah. So
at least you had all your contacts, and you still had service and stuff. But
They did take my wallet, and it's funny because when that happened, when they made me take off my pants, I like tried to be sneaky and pull my wallet out of my pants and stick it in my boxers, and then they made me take off my boxers, and I'm like, no, because the entire time, it's so funny. The entire time I was being mugged and my life was being threatened, I was actually thinking of, I really don't want to go back I don't want to go to the DMV. I don't want to have to get a new ID.
No.
Like, that sounds stressful.
It's like, can we just finish this up? Like, because I have to go on and redo all this stuff.
Can you let me keep my ID and my, like.
Yeah, what are you going to do with my ID?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need
just
that.
Throw it away.
Take the cash.
They took my shoes, really awesome shoes. I only found one of them. So mad.
You found one later?
Yeah.
I was like, when they ran off or something?
So, no worries. But I'm so grateful to that situation because that situation is what's leading me here at this exact moment in time. A lot of them are like hippie-esque type guys. They're cool guys. They're artsy. They don't like violence. They don't like hurting people. They themselves don't want to get hurt. Yet, you know, they're still guys. And I don't care what age you are. Every little boy wanted to wrestle or do martial arts. And you look at lion cubs.
Right.
Actually, I wrote a chapter in Sensei Reuben's book.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, he wrote a little book, Aikido Student Handbook.
Oh, that's the one? That one?
The red one.
We have that one.
The one that that was an
Not
old
that
one.
one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wrote his own one. But I wrote a chapter in that talking about kids and competition in Aikido. And look at lion cubs. They fight and wrestle with each other, bite and play. And that's how
what our cats do all day.
That's how they learn how to hunt.
Yep.
And yet there's no winning.
Right.
Not a single one is like, oh, I won. No, you didn't. I won. I totally bit your ear first.
Right.
No, like they're not saying that. It's just playing. So no matter what age you are, you will always be a boy. Like not you, but you will always like to play like that,
right.
and we just lose that over the years because we get used to it, and like and our reasonings get.
Hey, Nala pinned Simba every time.
Heck yeah.
She was like,
That's me and my
pinned
brother.
ya.
That's me and my brother. Like I'm pinning Lulu.
I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
can see you. She's tough.
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, I see that with the cats all the time. They're always like wrestling, and you learn so much from that.
Yeah.
I mean, even as kids, it's like that's the way you learn to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like playing, even like tickle fights, just play all that stuff as kids. I remember like, yeah, Compass's knee is covering her face.
Every single one of these children are on
Sitting there with their phones.
This one's going through emoji list. Hold on. Now I'm taking pictures of me. Wait. Wait. On to Android.
He's getting his own B-roll.
That's my Android.
Oh,
You only have Apple. You don't even know how to do that.
Bye-bye. Someone texted you. Oh, Seven. Seven texted
They're
you.
texting each other.
She said bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Seven said. Just saying that every single one of these kids were on their phone. Clearly a difference in generation.
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
we're
Right.
on group chat talking.
Not
They're texting each
They're
other.
texting-
They're
they're
all
texting-
chatting and texting each other as they're.
No.
who?
So,
So
Did you send that?
Seven. Should have sent it to Compass. She's confused.
What's
yeah,
that?
you did. Scoopity scoop.
This is
So Matt has a new poetry book. It's like very new. This is the first you've seen it. Oh yeah, you're gonna take out my toilet paper. It's
Toilet paper bookmark.
Yeah, it's actually a paper towel, but it could definitely be toilet paper.
Thank you.
Yay!
Not a very big book. Pretty skinny, but it's my first book, and it's been 15 years in the making because I started writing poetry when I was 16. Thanks to my friend, I'm going to give her a shout out, Paige Quinton. I do remember. It's been 16 years, but I'm still friends with her on Facebook. So she's probably gonna see this, but she, she was there and she encouraged me to write my first poem. And yes, it was about a girl, and my heart was broken because I was 16 and I was going through stages of puberty, which I say in the introduction.
Wait, is your first poem?
Yeah, my first poem's in here. So I went through I did 9 chapters, each representing a stage in my life, similar to stages in other people's lives, where it's just basically, you kind of going through like emotions, and you've never experienced these feelings before, right? First time you fell in love, the first time you feel depressed, even like going into like pretty deep ones of like moments of suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. Like I go through it all, and each chapter, I did 9 chapters because in Chinese medicine, 9 is a magic number. 9 in mathematics, 9 is actually a higher number than 10 because 9 is the highest.
And
right?
before you have to go back.
And then you get 1 0.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I did 9 chapters. I felt that was suiting, and each of them is a moment and stage in my life, and I'll just read the chapters. Chapter 1, The Sad Little Boy, which is funny because that was actually my username for a poetry website, which I used to be a part of. I still have my poems on that website.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Chapter 2 is What is Love? So it's like that point in your life where you're just like understanding love and like what is it and like what exactly is it? Guys, what is love?
What is love to you? Your cat?
Your cat. Oh, that's nice.
Bat.
Bed?
No.
I thought you said bat. Are you Batman?
Yeah.
She walks around and goes, I'm Batman all the time.
Well, I used to. I don't
So what is
anymore.
love to you, Seven? What's love to you?
Don't act family.
I like that.
Family, friends. Me. Charlie. Not so. Cat.
Cats,
My cat.
cats and family.
My cat that's dreaming. He was like,
So it's pretty interesting that, you know, their version of love, these are kids, and obviously, but like they haven't gone through certain stages in life. So like, you know, when you're a kid, love is something simple.
Mhm.
It's like it's my cat, it's my bird, it's my dog, it's my friends and family, or like it could be dancing, you know, like
Mhm.
love is dancing. So like love can be defined in so many different ways, which I wrote in the introduction about. So many different outlets can be love. But like to really understand love, why did we come up with the word love? Like why is that word, like if you look in the English language, there's not very many synonyms to love. But in like other languages, like Sanskrit, there's like 80.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's different kinds of love.
why can't
Right.
why can't a symbol be green?
What?
Like why can't it be green? Like a synonym for green.
Yeah, it could be.
I was just looking at
Oh,
the shirt.
like you're saying the word green. I thought you were like describing. Yeah, actually, no. It's funny that you say that because what's the color of the heart chakra?
Oh, I don't know.
It's
Green.
It's green.
The heart chakra is green. Green shirt.
Mhm.
So, like, yeah, essentially you are correct. Why can't, like, that is a synonym for love in another context.
I was just kind of playing around because
I
was
know.
looking
I
at
know,
it.
but that's it's neat, isn't it?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I just, you know, that's chapter, I kind of got off on a tangent in chapter 2. Obviously,
love is a deep concept.
yeah, that's a deep concept. Chapter 3 is understanding life. You know, that's a big one too. We could probably go into that for like an hour. Chapter 4 is the awakening, and that's, I say that loosely, with like,
I'm B-rolling. No, I'm B-rolling.
it's coming in my butt now.
I'm B-roll.
Can't B-roll in front of my face.
I know. As he's talking.
There's a
Here's
camera
my
there.
book. I'm talking about my book here. I'm getting B-roll. Don't worry.
So, like I was saying, chapter 4, I say that loosely because chapter 4 is the awakening, and that's kind of just, I say that loosely because, you know, you have several stages in your life where
Right.
you awaken.
Right.
It's not like one awakening, oh, I'm enlightened. No, like you're gonna go through a lot of
A lot.
awakening, a lot of eureka moments.
And if you ever think you're done and you're like, I've done enough spiritual work, I don't need to awaken anymore. You've got a lot more
that-
than this.
That reminds me of a quote: "When you think you know, you don't, and when you think you don't, you actually do." But yeah,
I like
and chapter 5 is understanding thought. So right, I just realized in this stage of my life that I have thoughts, which you think that, you know, we would understand better, but we don't. Like the human mind's pretty, like just as much as the oceans of the earth. Like it's a pretty big, vast place. Chapter 6, thoughts are just thoughts. It's thoughts are but thoughts, but there's actually a poem that I wrote about that. But it's like thoughts are just thoughts. Like that's all they are. They're nothing special. You know, like you get to choose what that thought holds energy or if it doesn't hold energy. Chapter 7 is learning to let go to learn. And then chapter 8, just being. Chapter 9 is the beauty of being.
Oh.
The secret poem.
I know, the secret poem made me so happy. That's actually one of my favorite ones so far, but I haven't read all the way through. I read the first 2 chapters, and then I flipped back and read the secret poem, and then I read backwards a chapter. And I don't know why I did that, but it was...
Well, as you can see, I didn't put numbers. I didn't put page numbers on this book because I kind of like the idea of using this book as a, I don't know if you guys ever did oracle cards, but asking this book and going like, hey, what do I need to hear right now at this moment? And then going to a random page. And you could be like, or you can even go like, the first line on this page that I choose is exactly what I need to hear.
Yep. Yep.
Your attitude is dependent.
Oh, that's a sentence.
Line. First line.
Your attitude is dependent.
Or would you like to hear another bad poem?
Like, I'm gonna turn to would you like to hear?
That's actually pretty funny. The first line. Would you like to hear another bad poem? Oh crap! What does that mean in my life? This is deep. That is a curse word. Don't you read that, children?
They all go to look. What?
Oh
So this book has curse words in it, but you can always replace them with
Shrek. Doo-doo. Shrek.
Shrek.
Or donkey.
Pick the right piece of
Seek.
Shrek people.
Shrek people.
I mean,
The right pieces.
that's what we did at Celebration Station for a field trip. We had to.
Son of a Shrek.
I actually said that.
You actually said son of a
Hey
Shrek.
guys, I
So
just
then
like a
everybody
poem in
started
my head.
replacing their
What's your
customers
poem?
with Shrek.
It's I like cats, and they're very cute. They like to sleep, and so
Do you?
I do.
It overfills my rod, the wilderness flows through me, seasons skies below.
That's her haiku.
Beautiful. Haikus are cool.
Yeah.
Japanese poems.
We write them and gift them.
Yeah, I like Japanese poems, right? I'm really into Japanese.
Mhm.
I'm really into Japanese. No, I can do that.
That's. Oh, I thought that was a sentence.
Oh,
It is my phone.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
No, I'm making a poem.
Well, you can.
No, I'm making it real quick.
all right, we got poems.
You
I
got
made mine in
poems.
my head.
I'm gonna pop your toes. That's why we're here. No, you guys are bringing out the inner child.
My dad does that to me a lot.
I'm gonna pop your toes.
He likes to-
Silence.
I missed my pinky.
Dang it, didn't go all the way
Oh,
up.
not
You-
pinky.
I wish I could do that with my pinky.
Oh yeah, you got a broken pinky toe.
I do have a broken pinky. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
recent.
Yeah.
Okay. When I read it, I was like, that's recent.
Yeah, I probably should read this poem.
Read this poem.
I actually I did broken pinky toe, and I also talked about breaking the chain,
Oh
which
yeah.
was the name of the men's retreat that I went to. So I want to give my friend a shout out.
Yeah.
Actually, Fabiano and Duncan, they both kind of organized and led the men's retreat, which was really healing because it's like the idea that the masculine, there's toxic masculinity, there's like the sacred masculinity or divine masculinity,
Yeah.
or the way of the superior man, as David Data would put it. And then like it's really messed up, right now, but it's getting better. Like men are starting to realize that they're not all great, that we've got some work to do. So I learned some things, languaging and tools and different techniques to be able to express myself in a respectful way.
Right. Right.
Like we actually learned something about triggering people.
No, 7.
It's
Oh.
Battery is low.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Roses are red and violets are blue. I want to slap you with the shoes just so you know you
oh
went
my
through things like yours belong in the zoo.
6 in the first line.
Hey guys, guess what? It's like probably like 3:30.
It's okay.
Anyway.
It's okay. Poems don't need it's not a haiku, but
Well,
it's
I don't
it's
even know what a
haiku.
haiku is.
It's a haiku. It's a haiku. All right, we've created something. Instead of creating a haiku, girls can create haikus.
Herku.
There's no rules. Just throw them all on.
My
just
haiku is the
words.
best.
Okay, I'm gonna read my Hercule. Okay. Oh, you changed it to
Yeah.
Hercule.
Don't
Yeah, I
laugh.
did. Okay, so chicken, oh my chicken. It can be made in any way. Crisp nuggies and fancy pants chicky. My oh my chicken nuggies are mine. The end.
Is the end part of the
The
poem?
end. It's definitely Mercury retrograde because like
the mic that we were recording with was it was supposed to be the big mic down here, and I thought I put it on there, and then like it didn't. It like switched over to this one, so now it's on the good mic, but it should be fine. Yeah, I was like, do I leave it so it's consistent, or I'll just like whatever? Yeah.
Matter.
There's feet.
You just have to read.
Their feet
Fight.
are clean though, because they've had
Fight.
fulvic acid feet baths.
Right.
You have your book.
Yay!
We were talking about a lot of different things. Oh, I really like that I like that you put the original, like your first poems in there, because it went back and it was interesting because it's almost like you go through this timeline of growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I didn't read it fully in that way, because I started to, and then I had this moment where I needed to kind of do the oracle card thing, and I was like, I'm just gonna, and then I got to the very last poem, the secret poem, and I read that, and there were things that like stood out to me at the time where I was like, ooh, I needed to read that. Like that really, and then I went backwards, and whatever ones came up were ones that I resonated with at the time more. So it was interesting how it did that. So I think it's cool. Like it you could read it like a timeline, or do it like an oracle card. Postures.
Stay, good girl.
I love how my interviews have been so far. They've been so like raw and authentic and just like how they are.
Wait.
And like I'm glad Lona could join us today.
Yeah.
So you've got the book, Aikido. You're an artist also, so you do drawing, painting. I don't know if you do like other like mixed media stuff, but I know you have like the woodworking, popsicles,
Oh yeah. Forgot
Chinese
about those.
herbalism.
Yeah.
All that. There's a lot. No, obviously, like we both have an interest in like Asian cultures, like Chinese, Japanese, like primarily Japanese. Like I think I had past lives in Japan for
Definitely
sure.
was Asian in a past life.
Yeah.
One of these. I was in one of those countries.
Yeah.
Definitely think China was predominant.
Yeah.
But there's like the Japanese part. I really connect with it as well.
Well, when I was learning Japanese before we went to Japan, I learned the katakana and hiragana. And I didn't, sometimes people will go, oh my gosh, how did you teach yourself Japanese? I'm like, well, I didn't teach myself kanji. I never really learned kanji, but I did learn katakana and hiragana because it's syllabic and it was easy. And one was for reading Japanese words and one was for reading, Romanized or Roman words, like more like English language stuff, like Chizu is cheese.
Yeah.
Or like, but like karaoke.
Pinku.
Yeah.
It's just the Romanized version of pink.
Pinku.
Pinku.
What about kohi?
Kohi. Coffee. Yeah, coffee. Yeah.
Cake.
Cakey.
Keki.
Cheeseburger, hamburger,
It'd be funny if you watch some of those animes, they'll be like, thank you very much. And then they start speaking Japanese immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
And you're like, and they did an English translation of them saying English.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
That's
much
it.
for having us in this
That's it.
interview, but I think we're gonna go.
Oh, are you
somewhere
departing?
now. Yeah.
Okay.
We are departing.
My sunburn hurts.
Your sunburn hurts?
It's a good excuse.
Yeah.
Keep going by that. It's going to last you the rest of your
Cool.
life.
I have like 5 sunburns. I was on a boat.
Thank you for joining us for the haiku, the herku,
I hope y'all
for the
liked
poetry,
my-
the poetry and Aikido portion of this interview.
Yeah, bye.
What time is it now? 7?
Um,
Okay.
Now, to work. Now that we've gotten distractions out of the way.
Yeah, they got. But that was so you to have them here. Yeah, it's funny because like this is such a fun journey, and this morning I had my own thing like with them, like with the kids running around and we had a sleepover last night, so this whole area was like torn up and like everything was all over the place, and I found myself like almost. That anxiety that builds up where you're like, I want to do something professional and I want to do it right. And, it can be fun and loose and everything. But I found myself being very uptight almost. And part of it, I think, is just, I think I'm detoxing from all the fulvic acid and like my cycle and whatever is coming up too. So I think I can feel that that like I could feel myself being a little more like on edge. And then I realized like as like they jumped on the couch and it just like I was like, dude, it's so cool. It's so okay. Like that whole idea of just like going with the flow and then allowing it to just be. And like I was resisting that initially.
Mm-hmm.
Like not as the interview started, but just like right before. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, like I really could like feel this, like I was like, guys, like, like, whatever, like trying to make it something, but it's like you can't really do that. You have to let it, I don't know,
Well,
just roll.
it's like you want it to be a certain way, so there's that expectation, and so
Right.
you want to control it because you think that you actually have the power to control it to be that way.
Right.
But at the same time, when you let go of the control, you actually have more control. I know it.
I know.
Alan Watts calls it the backwards law.
Oh, yeah.
And have you ever read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
No.
By Mark Manson. He also like illustrates that backwards law or reiterates it.
The Subtle Art
of Not Giving a Fuck.
Okay.
Mark
I'm
Manson.
adding that to my,
It's a really-
my list. Yeah.
So I've listened to the audiobook, and I like the person that reads the audiobook, at least the one that I've listened to, I'll send it to you. He does voices. So there's like Disappointing Panda, and Disappointing Panda sounds like, well, guys. He goes, it's like, Disappointing Panda would be the superhero that would go around to everyone's door, knock on them, and tell them things that they don't want to hear, but they need to.
Right.
Sure, guys. Making a lot of money is going to make you feel better, but not going to make your kids love you more. And so, quoted from Mark Manson.
That's so awesome.
But it's but he talks about backwards law, like literally letting go of expectations.
Mhm.
And yeah, like structure and planning and professionalism has its place.
Right.
It's just we shouldn't live there.
Right.
We shouldn't be so rigid that we aren't okay to adapt, because that's one thing that there's a constant in life is change.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing we can be sure of.
Right.
That change is going to happen no matter what.
Yep.
So then how can I surrender, or how can I bring harmony, in the words of Aikido, like how can I be harmonious with something that I can't do anything about, right? If you look at this situation as a person attacking you,
Right.
you can't do anything about it.
Right.
The person is attacking you. Like
Right. All you can do is flow with it.
yeah, I could still somewhat control them and
Right.
redirect that energy and transmute it into something harmonious. Whether it's a punch in my face or words being yelled at me, I can still try my best to harmonize with it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's all about being in the right position, having the right timing and the right grace or elegance with it to harmonize as best as you can.
And I like that harmonized aspect, because it's so funny, because one of the things like, I was like, guys, like make sure that like the couch looks nice, because we're going to do and then like, as I loved it, as soon as we got up here, Lona has started hiding behind here. And now like the pillows are just tousled everywhere. I'm like, it's perfect. It's like it's like totally, it just harmonized exactly how it needed to be. And yeah.
That's the overall point of this book.
Really? Okay.
So the point of this book, indirectly, is the fact that it reminds people that, actually, I'll read the back. Right here, I'll do a little quote from the back. It says, so Matt always stated that he would be the person that he needed when he was younger. Someone to help guide him in becoming the best version of himself, a true role model to help transition the young minds of the next generation to believing in themselves and in trusting that life is working out exactly as it should, no matter how bad you feel or what your thoughts try to tell you. And learn that not every thought is meant to be believed, and every person you encounter is another opportunity to learn something about your life, about people, and yourself. But essentially, like, everything's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
right.
Oh, wait,
right.
Look at my hat.
Okay.
Everything is okay. And one of my favorite quotes is Emily Kubler-Ross. I'm not okay that you're not okay, and that's okay.
That's awesome.
Like, just to understand that, like, things aren't going to work out the way you want. And I think that's my message to the world is like, look at, like, you get to walk through my thoughts as a child. You get to walk with me through life and see that I had thoughts of suicide.
Mhm.
I've had thoughts of like self-victimization. I still occasionally they pop up, but now I can.
Well, it's like you were saying, thoughts are just thoughts. You might have a thought, but that doesn't mean you give it any power or any validity. I mean, you have random thoughts, all these random thoughts going through your head all the time.
Yeah.
But I love that. I think it was in the intro where you were talking about the title, walking in my thoughts. I was like, wow, you really are. You're kind of walking through this because you're not living there. You're walking through this like adventure and this journey and seeing where it all goes, and kind of you can walk through it and explore it and kind of see it in different.
See the evolution
Yeah.
of like a person, right? Poems of a conscious mind growing through life. And I don't say conscious as in like self-grandizing or like egotistical conscious, like I'm more conscious than this person.
Right.
No, I mean like we're all conscious.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter like one's not more like that's the human concept
Yep.
of more or
Yep.
less. Like I'm more conscious than this person. No, that person's conscious, but just at a different level.
Or they're conscious of different things.
Yeah.
You know, they're not maybe they're not conscious of like certain bigger pictures of things. They're conscious about this and this, or they like everybody's conscious to some degree of
yeah,
you know, different things or different
yeah. So essentially like I just, you know, I was kind of consciously aware of what was going on in my life
Mm-hmm.
and expressing myself appropriately through words and prose, and you know, tried my best to move through it and the uncomfortableness of it and adapt.
Well, and there's, you know, I thought that was very cool that you added those poems that talk about the darker things like suicide and like reaching out. There was the one where you're talking about like reaching out on this website and like
Yeah.
talking about it and like asking for help. And I know that that's something that people struggle with. You know, there's teens that I, you know, like I've got the kids have a lot of friends. They're in, you know, they with Aikido or dance or school or whatever things they're involved with. You meet all these other parents and all these other kids and all these other families, and everybody's going through different struggles. And when you stop and you really talk to people and get to know them on a deeper level, you start to know that there's like other things going on. So there are kids like teens and, you know, even younger, so like preteens and stuff that go through those thoughts, and some of them are giving it more validity or reality or more
Energy.
life.
Yeah.
And they're struggling with that, and a lot of these kids don't know what to do with that, and a lot of these parents don't know what to do with that. And there's so many factors in that. You could look at like health, you know, in a general sense, like are they getting outside? What are they eating? What are they fueling themselves with? Are they toxic? Do they need a detox? What's their energy system like? Who are they hanging around? And what, when I say energy, like that could mean so many
like a
different
holistic
things.
kind of viewpoint at them. You look at them and you're like, well, it's like it's not just what they're eating. It's not just about physical health.
Right.
It's like, what about mental health?
Mm-hmm.
Are they even allowing for them to be bored?
Right.
Because,
well, that's like them sitting here with the phones.
yeah, they couldn't be bored.
Yeah, and it was funny because part of me wanted to, when they were sitting here, there's this struggle of like parent and doing the show and like, okay, do I stop and go, okay, guys, can you please get, you know, granted I could cut it and edit it or whatever out, but I didn't want to stop the flow of them having fun with you. So if I come in with the mom card, you know, they're going to be like, oh, mom,
Mom's
but
such
look,
a
they
bummer.
did their thing. They're going in there. They're probably not on their phones in there. They're probably playing with something or doing whatever. They have embroidery. They've got arts. They were drawing all night last night. But yeah, like kids don't know how to be bored now. And so when kids are bored, they're alone with these thoughts and they don't know what to do with these thoughts.
Bored breeds self-reflection.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to self-reflect properly, which is something our school system doesn't teach,
Mhm.
something a lot of parents
my
don't know
gosh.
how to express and teach them, because it's like, hey, like, you know, I hate saying meditation around kids because a lot of them start to get this bad idea of meditation
Right.
is bad and boring.
Like almost like it's a punishment or something. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, we have to sit and think about what we did. Or
Yeah. Like, don't say meditation, just say like, hey, we're just going to sit here and be still, because we need to
Mhm.
balance out the fact that we've moved around so much today
Right.
that we just need to chill for a second
Right.
and just
Reflect and-
focus on something that's consistent.
Mhm.
Your heartbeat's consistent, your breath is consistent, your thoughts are consistent. They're ever changing.
Mhm.
Don't focus on one thought, just keep watching them go by and be like, wow, I have some silly thoughts. Or I make the 4-year-olds in my class do this. They breathe in, they touch their nose, they breathe out, and they don't touch it. They breathe in, they touch their nose, they breathe out, and they don't touch it. So they have a consistent physical,
Right.
thing to focus on.
That's something that even teaching yoga, that's something that I've done with adults even, because they're, some people will go, oh, I don't know how to meditate because I don't know how to stop my thoughts. I'm like, well, the idea isn't to stop your thoughts, it's to become the observer of your thoughts. So, you just become you become observant and you're not trying to control it. And you can do it that way, or you could do where you're focused on the breath. So I was like, well, if you don't want to think about your thoughts, so they're going to come. So don't put all this awareness as, oh no, I started thinking about something. Just return to the breath, return to the breath. And so you can, focus on your inhale, feel the air hitting your nose as you breathe in, feel the heat coming out as you exhale. And some adults even are like, wow, I've never paid attention to, I do that how many tens of thousands of times a day.
Yeah, and it's
really
not even
interesting.
about like meditating for long periods of time. You can meditate for an hour. You can sit still for an hour and try to meditate. And if you only bring yourself back for 1 minute,
right,
then that's success.
Right. Oh, for
Like literally the definition of success is moving forward in the right direction, and just as long as you're doing you're going that direction.
What's there's a Japanese word for moving forward even at like a slow pace. I can't remember either, but there's like a term for it, and it's like, oh yeah, it's this term, and it means like moving forward even if it's the tiniest little like increment forward like that.
Yeah. And it's like you're moving forward. That's all that matters. Don't focus on how far you got. But this is like me talking in hindsight of experience. I still do that though today. Here, I'm here to say that like those thoughts, you're feeling bad for not being good enough, they never go away. I still like have those thoughts. I sometimes even I'm attached to them. I think about them too much, or I victimize myself sometimes. This is never going to stop. Yeah. But the point being of this book is that those feelings are going to happen again and again, but you're always going to get out of them.
Right.
They're always going to end. Things are going to get better.
Well, it's just like this morning. That's how I felt with, making sure everything was perfect, like for the interview. And it was like, oh, I have to make sure it's like that, so that way I know that I'm good enough. I did a good enough job. Like if it's not perfect, then what does that say about me? Starting this out, like, is that going to inhibit my growth? No, because look, I'm here doing it.
Yeah.
It's just like that. We're here, we're doing it. Like, the mic was on the wrong mic earlier, and it's like, oh, okay, I found it, whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's like you go through those growing pains, and I'm totally okay being authentic about that and like showing that, like, yeah, like this is a new journey, and I'm using old, like, things that I used to do documentary film and photo and all that kind of stuff back in the day. So I have some kind of background in that, but everything's different now. And there's so much more to learn about the new tech and all this and blah, blah, blah. And, but so instead of beating myself up about it or waiting and putting it off until it's perfect, like, I mean, I don't know if you're fine with me, like it's like even like the book, like how you were like, dude, like it cut off like some of the T's.
It cut off some of the, like all the T's. I had a very awesome
on the
team.
titles.
Yeah. So, but like for me, it's like, okay.
Now you know.
Now I know. So I gotta go. Right. I gotta go back into.
Right. But at least you moved forward. You wrote a book. It's published.
Yeah.
Here it is. Like you actually did.
I went through a lot of like trial and error, and like a lot of people don't start because they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And then some people they give like, I remember getting this advice when I was younger, saying just start.
Just do it. Yep.
Just start. Don't think about where you're starting. Don't think about if it's perfect or not. Just start. And I didn't get that. I was like, no, it's not good enough to release into the world yet.
Well, we're both artists. Like, I did a lot of just like mostly pencil drawings and stuff. I did some paintings, and I would always do that too. And people would always go, wow, your art's so great. You should, hang it in this cafe, or you should make a website, or you should put it in some gallery, or you should whatever. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, I know way better artists than me. I would never do that. Why would I do that? I'm not at that level. Or, I've had friends that were phenomenal artists. Like, I mean, just like amazing. Like they could totally do something. And even them, they had that same thing where I thought their stuff was amazing. And they didn't really do much with it. And I was like, gosh.
It's kind of like what I was saying to Lona earlier about how your thoughts, you're aware of them. So, of course, you're aware of all your faults, all of your mistakes that you've made, and no one else is aware of those thoughts. And no one else is aware of you and how you think about yourself.
Right.
You can be nervous up on stage doing something and your legs shaking, but everyone's like, you did so good. And you're like, really? My leg was shaking the entire time. You didn't see that? They're like, no, because their version of you is not the same thing as your version of you.
Right.
And it's just mind blowing to know that, like, okay, that makes me feel better. That makes me know that, like, I can do something like this.
Right.
I can be like I said, we could do this live if you wanted to. Like, I understand now that it doesn't matter if I stutter or go, if I stutter,
right,
and like, or if I make mistakes or if I fart on camera. Like, it doesn't matter because, like, that's human.
And people relate to it. Like,
Yeah.
they'd be like,
you
oh,
fart.
Right.
I guarantee you fart. And you matter.
Right. You fart and you matter. That should be your t-shirt. Walking in my thoughts, like on the back or something.
Walking in my matter.
Yeah. You fart and you matter. I remember doing that in high school. Like there were some of like the more like popular girls like sitting in class, and one of them farted, and I was like, yeah, nice one. And she's like, oh my gosh, that wasn't me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I don't fart. And I was like, are you okay? Like, is there something wrong with you? You don't fart? What? Like, how do you not fart?
It's okay
like,
to fart.
It's okay.
And it's so sad that she felt like she couldn't fart. That's sad to me. That's like, wow, this is what we're doing. We're making our kids and people feel ashamed of farting for being
human
natural.
And having,
So,
well, I mean, that's like now it's like some people think that like breastfeeding is weird or unnatural or this like gross thing. And I'm like, you guys drink cow's milk. you drink like, do you
milk
realize
from
what
the
this
teats
is?
of another, like, I'm not even here promoting veganism or anything like that, but the idea of humans are the only animal that drinks milk from another post childhood, post like baby infancy, and you like.
But breastfeeding is weird.
Yeah, like if it's, I mean, give me a tea. Like, I'm thirsty. Like, so yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
It is. It's just so interesting. Like the society, I think, just warps a lot of stuff, and that's why I think this is good because we have so much. I like that little like display.
Pillow display.
And
pillow talk.
Pillow. This I almost thought about calling this pillow talk.
Totally.
When we did the first one, right?
Pillow talk. Welcome to pillow talk.
Welcome to pillow talk. Last week I had a Hello Kitty mug, and this week I have Compass's Holiday Magic Unicorn mug.
Sweet.
With pillow talk.
I drank out of a unicorn mug the other day.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was nice.
It felt magical.
Yeah. I like that. I like that you're exploring that aspect of like masculinity and what divine masculinity really is, and how, like, I love that you said it, because like as like a woman, it's funny to say that sometimes because you don't want to come off as like it's a, you know, this like combative kind of thing, like, oh, you know, men have a lot of work to do. Like that's a weird thing for sometimes for like me to say, but if coming from a guy, like it's so cool and it's so vulnerable and it's so like, yeah, like, because women, I think, have been trying to really go through that. If you look at the spiritual community, there's a lot more women out there doing it.
Yeah.
And being raw and authentic and being like, hey, look, we're done with this whole, like, we're supposed to look like we're on a magazine cover all the time, or we're done with this, and this. Like, no, we know our true selves. We know what our goddess being is. We know what all of that is. And it's so cool to see men stepping up and doing the same thing. And not that it's brand new, because I know there's men that have been doing that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely growing.
It's becoming more mainstream, I would say, especially in like the quote unquote conscious community.
You matter and you can cry no matter who you are.
No matter. you matter even with no matter.
You'll always be a little boy. You can always cry.
Yeah. So I think just the idea of like, you know, trying to work on yourself. Just like don't stop ever working on yourself. Like refine it. like one of my favorite books is As a Man Thinketh, which is by James Allen. I think he was late 1800 poet slash author, and his books were very intellectual. Like I became smarter after reading
Wow.
it because his like you had to like really read it and listen, or if you listen to audiobook, I listened to audiobook like 5 times and read the book, and it's very intellectual, and his words were very poetic. Even though they
Right.
didn't rhyme, they still had poetic
It had this like flow to it, this like
intelligence.
Right.
It had an intelligence to it. So I really enjoyed that book because it talks about refining yourself to the point of like where you're as pure can be. And that's how you actually become successful. That's how you become abundant. That's how you really attract all the stuff that you want to you,
right.
because you have nothing. And I am not there yet. I would like to point that out. I'm still on that journey. I've not
It's always a journey though.
find myself to that
Right.
level of masculinity that I would like to be at, but that's okay.
But you have a consciousness of it and an awareness of it and the balance of the masculine and feminine in all of us. We all have that, whether it's, you know, looking at your right and left side of the body and the yin and the yang, and, you know, whatever aspect of that is, we're all half man, half woman. That's
Yeah.
how we were brought into this world. So we carry that energy with us.
It was an eye awakening, an eye opener, an eye awakening.
Are you saying ayahuasca?
My eye is
Ayahuasca
awakening.
Ah.
An eye opener was the book Intimate Communion by David Data. It talks about that masculine, feminine, energetic polarity. And reading that, looking back on my life,
This is when I
yeah,
yes, this is intellectual talk. Yes.
But reading that book really put perspective on like how we could depolarize ourselves. So we all have a core sexual essence, core masculine sexual essence, core feminine sexual essence, or you could be a little bit of both,
Right.
like in the middle, but we still have masculine and feminine qualities,
Right.
separately. Now, if we crave, like if we have a core masculine sexual essence, then I crave feminine energy.
Right.
And that could mean, in a non-toxic way, me just being around women.
Right.
Just around you. Just interaction.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be anything sexual or anything like that. I would even say like kids, whether boy or girl, they have a very strong feminine essence because they need that nurturing.
Right.
So me teaching, just being in their energy is refreshing and sometimes draining, but refreshing at the same time.
Right.
Because their energy is just they're so energetic.
Right.
They're so lively.
Right.
So, but we can have an affair with other things that have feminine and masculine energies. For instance, the beach is feminine.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like I'm lacking feminine energy. So instead of like going to a strip club, or which I still have never been, 32, never been.
Hey.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I mean, I know a couple, I have friends that were ex-strippers. They're cool people now.
No, yeah,
they're cool back then. Yeah, no judgment.
Yeah, no, there's no
Strip
judgment.
away.
I just think that's cool because you don't know a lot of guys that have.
But yeah, no, I like even my other friend Matt. We were just talking about this last night, and he's like, he's never been either, and we're like, what? So like we have a pretty good amount of feminine energy in us, but
Right.
when we are trying to be more masculine, we need more, or there's overly toxic masculinity. Let's. I don't know if this is a good. I guess this is a prejudice essentially, but I'm going to paint the picture of a typical redneck with the Confederate flag on the head. They drive a Ford. Let's use the typical redneck.
Right.
Very toxic, very masculine. What are they always drinking? What do they always have in their hand?
Beer.
Beer is feminine. Cold beer is a feminine glass of energy.
No, is that a Chinese medicine concept, or what is that? What is the beer?
So it's like alcohol. It loosens you.
Oh, so is it like yin in nature?
Yeah.
Okay.
And cannabis also feminine.
Okay.
Anything that's a stimulant is masculine.
Coffee.
Anything that's a depressant or relaxant is feminine. So people that have like over a lot of masculine energy, they're the ones that are always drinking beers, always smoking cannabis, which again, nothing wrong with any of that. You know, I have a beer every now and again. I'm not drinking it every day, right? Balance is key here. But and same thing with feminine. Now, I would say in this,
What do women drink mostly? Coffee. I mean, I have
Coffee,
chai. I can't have coffee, but like
caffeine stimulants.
caffeine. Yeah.
And they also have this right. They need masculine energy, and if they don't get it from whether their intimate partner or from their friends, then they will take over that masculine energy and depolarize themselves. So that looks very prominent in this society because you look at women and they're right. There's that movement that anything you can do, I can do too. Right. That movement that happened back in World War II, the girl, strong woman, and like there's nothing wrong with that. But they did what I did, where like I was pretty masculine when I was younger, hot-headed, hot-blooded Latina, wanted to fight everybody, and realized how damaging that was to me. And I jumped to the other side of the spectrum, full feminine, painting, not even going out and doing stuff, you know, smoking cannabis all the time, and just overly feminine things.
Wow.
And that was also damaging to me too. So now I'm at this point in my life where I'm kind of like playing with the middle. I'm masculine. I have masculine energy and I want to be masculine. I am a man, but I would like a balance of some sort where I can go back and forth. And I would also like to state that like this idea of masculine and feminine has nothing to do with your sex that you're born with. You can be a guy with a core feminine sexual essence. You can be gay, straight. You could be bisexual, demisexual. If you have a feminine essence, it doesn't matter if you're a guy. You're going to crave a masculine essence. So if you're a gay guy that has a feminine essence, I guarantee you that your boyfriend is more masculine than you. And that happens with women too as well, like lesbians. If you're a lesbian and you're masculine, you're going to crave a feminine lesbian. So or demisexual, it doesn't matter. You're always going to be craving that balance because you are lacking something and you're searching for it in something else. New York, masculine. Hawaii, feminine. Florida, somewhere in the middle.
So yeah.
Cats?
So
I'm a kitty cats.
Cats, feminine. He's a male. He's the most masculine out of all of our cats. We've got 3. This is Mochi. He's our Arnold. He's our
Arnold Schwarzenegger. I am the cat. Get down now.
I like to climb the screen. Man, I can't do it right now. I've been like clearing my throat, like allergies. Then you got Saki. He's also male, but he's a little more feminine. He's like he walks a little more dainty, and Sprinkles is very feminine, but like I think cats are more feminine, like dogs can be more masculine, or like, you know, it's funny, even you see that in different species, and look at birds. They're almost like the opposite. Like birds, the male birds, look at a peacock. Like a female peacock is brown. She's like very simple, very just do. And the male is like, what's up? Like he's just like throwing his colorful feathers out there. Like it's so cool to see that dynamic. And so I was like, when I was teaching yoga a lot, I was really obsessed with the yin yang concepts. Like really, I mean, I created this whole yin yang flow where I needed a lot of yin because I had gone through a major adrenal burnout where my yang was just going. It was like on overdrive. And so I actually used yin yoga to heal a lot of things on top of different herbs and Chinese medicine and all that, which is cool. It's so funny. Like I keep forgetting that like you do all of that.
I am a practicing clinical Chinese herbalist. I practice. I'm still interning. But yeah, it's like that concept. Once I was explained it, like I think it was like the first 2 classes in school. Once I was explained the whole yin and yang and I was like the energetics basically. Right. I was like, It all makes
I know.
sense.
I know. And I saw this. Where is it? Yeah. Remember, within every negative there lies a positive. As soon as I saw that, I thought of yin yang, because you have that, like, within the black there's the white, within the white there's the black. Like, there's always a little bit of each.
Or in layman's term, there's always a silver lining.
Yeah, there you go.
And like,
I guess black and white would make gray, which is kind of like silver.
yeah, right. So I think like that yin and yang, and we start thinking energetic. So like cold, hot, wet, dry, deficient, excess. That's basically the energetics of herbalism. Or you can even use it with your food. Like, I am hot and sweaty outside. What would be the best fruit for me to eat right now?
Not mango, because mango, right? What would you do?
Watermelon.
Watermelon, yeah.
It's cooling and moistening. So actually, watermelon is, if you have it and someone's going through heat stroke, give them watermelon. Get them out of the heat.
Right.
Give them watermelon.
Watermelon, cucumber.
Send them to the hospital. So like, send them to like, yeah. I'm not.
Is it mango heating? Mango's warming. Or no, I don't have the training that Matt has, but I've read a lot about Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, and I've gone to both Chinese medicine, like Oriental physicians and Ayurvedic physicians, and like interned kind of in both. Yeah. So sometimes I get stuff mixed up, and sometimes you'll hear like, oh, in Ayurveda they'll say honey is phlegm producing and don't have honey, and so is lemon. But then in Chinese medicine, I think you do want lemon if you have phlegm. Like, unless I'm getting that confused.
Well, like they're both right. Like in certain cases, there's just too many factors that are involved. Like with Chinese medicine, like I can't just like go and say, oh, you have phlegm, don't have honey. It's more like, where's the phlegm at?
Right.
Like, what is it doing? Why do you have phlegm?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't your fluids moving? Because like the TNT function of the body, the transformation and transportation, which is governed by the spleen. Yes, the spleen. I could be wrong. Sorry.
There's room for error.
I've been wrong before. I know it. But I think it's governed by the spleen, controls the TNT function, which is the transformation and transportation of your fluids, the vital fluids in your body, which could look anything like phlegm, just liquids that move throughout your body. And if you have stagnation in your spleen, or if your spleen is not functioning properly, it can actually produce phlegm or make you have phlegm. And that, I think the concept is that, so the spleen likes warm, sweet, but too much sweet can cause a dysfunction.
Right.
Too much of anything can cause a dysfunction, but too little can also cause it. We're not talking about sweet like in like sugary cakes. Carrots are sweet. Go to the spleen. Like that kind of sweet. Sweet potatoes. So honey would definitely be really sweet. And if you're not used to sweet, like, so that law, maybe from Ayurvedic, right? Goes back hundreds of thousands of years. So honey was extremely sweet to them.
Right.
To us, honey's like whatever.
Right.
Have you ever had cupcake? Like
when was Chinese medicine found?
Thousands of years ago.
Because I know
it's around the same time.
Around the same time frame.
Yeah, thousands.
But it is different, because with Ayurveda you're looking at basically in a basic general form, because I know it goes in a lot deeper than this, but like in a basic general form, you're looking at your doshas and your constitutions, and there's 3. Sorry, I have like some allergy phlegm thing.
You have a frog in your throat.
I guess maybe I should, yeah.
You call that plum throat or
plum throat.
Plumpet.
Plumpet.
Something like that
Plumpet.
in Chinese medicine. I forgot. There's a formula.
Well, it's like that's so much more intricate, and I know Ayurveda goes intricate too in ways that like I'm not educated enough on, but it is so interesting. That's awesome.
See if it clears that up. So actually, this has mushroom in it. Mushroom actually helps transforming the phlegm inside your body. It's absorbent, right? We see that energetically as you cook with mushroom. It absorbs all the juices, but it's also an adaptogen. But yeah, I love this. This would be almost perfect if it didn't have 16 grams of sugar. I mean, poison in it. I'm not a Nazi against this kind of stuff, but at the same time, sugar is not good for you.
So I have a question that I get asked a lot about kombucha, which is this actually kombucha or this is the one with apple cider vinegar?
I think this is the one with apple cider vinegar.
Well,
It
with
has-
kombucha, oh,
Yeah, raw apple cider vinegar, dark amber, maple, root beer spices.
so it's not actually a kombucha. It's
No,
different. It's
yeah.
like a
There's
tonic.
no live culture in here.
So with a kombucha though, typically the SCOBY is eating the sugar, right? So even though it's sweet tasting and there's a sugar content, I've heard that it's not real sugar the way that your body would absorb sugar normally. And then you'll see kombuchas that are like a third % less sugar.
If I get a kombucha, I make sure that it has 0 added sugar, obviously.
Right.
But essentially, kombucha is delicious and yummy, and it's a treat,
Mhm.
and you shouldn't drink it every day.
Right.
It's not good for, as people have made it out to be. Yeah, kombucha, like raw, regular kombucha,
Mhm.
no sweetener added, good for your stomach, probiotics. Drink as much as you can, but the kombucha that we were buying in stores is not
Mhm.
like people are buying kombucha in stores thinking that they're doing something good for their stomach.
Right.
It's actually doing it's not good for you. It's not.
I've heard of people with SIBO and like SIBO groups. They were like, "Oh, kombucha was one of the things that actually made my SIBO so much worse."
Yeah.
That's the
Small intestine bowel
bacterial overgrowth.
overgrowth. Yeah.
Bowel
Bacteria.
overgrowth.
Bowel bacteria.
What if your bowels
overgrowth.
overgrown?
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, kombucha is not. It can be good for you, right? Just like all things, yogurt, yogurt, kombucha, all of those things started off good for you. Even alcohol. Alcohol had herbs in it.
Right.
Just saying. Cannabis was once a real medicine.
Mhm.
But like we bastardize things because we are human, and it's okay to be bastardize things. Nothing wrong against that.
Part
But
of our journey.
alcohol is now been abused to the point where it's now it's essentially a drug almost.
Mhm.
Cannabis, they make it so strong nowadays that it's essentially a narcotic.
Right.
And I'm not bashing cannabis. I know like a lot of people, I still partake in it occasionally, but I've made rules for myself, and I don't do dabs like the concentrates. That's ridiculous. Like I've done it once before, and I was like, I'm fucking retarded.
I know it's like if you need
Like-
that much of it, and there's no judgment here. It's just like
It's
I know we've watched our own friends like kind
I've
of go through that.
seen-
Yeah.
I know what cannabis is a medicine.
Right.
It enhances your experience and enhances what you're feeling. So if you're overall feeling any kind of way, it's going to enhance that, right? So that's why you feel so good when you're around good people and good vibes. Like I was at like a Grateful Dead cover band last night, and I partook with a friend, but it enhanced all that feeling. But if you're around people that are like just not high vibe or good vibes around them, you're gonna feel that. Or if you have thoughts, it's gonna increase those thoughts. So like that's what cannabis does, and people forget about that. So
Well, and it's like that idea of the anything can be a medicine or a drug depending on how you take it.
aconite,
Yeah.
aconite root
Yeah.
is used a lot in Chinese. Aconite's poisonous. That's monkshood, and if you touch it and you touch your mouth, you're dead. Like you
That strongly.
you'll get aconite poisoning. You'll start to feel the warmth come up from the bottom of your legs, and as soon as that warmth and tingling gets to your heart, you're dead. Thanks to my teacher Bob, Dr. Bob Lindy, who has experienced aconite or poisoning before, and he was able to explain what he did to stop that. But monkshood, you're not gonna like run accidentally into monkshood one day. But we use monkshood. It is part of our medica, and it is a medicine. We have to process it with ginger to make it less poisonous. But just because something's poisonous doesn't mean it's bad. We just need to use it in the right way. Same thing with alcohol. Alcohol, great extractor. good for tinctures, not good for people that are coming off alcohol or have, are alcoholics in any kind of way. But there's other extraction methods. But Jägermeister used to be a medicine. Now it's a drink that people drink to do the opposite of healing. So I think like everything, like yogurt, right? Yogurt, kefir. That was something legit people used to do. It was good for the gut health. Now people are buying yogurt in the stores with 30 grams of sugar in it, and they think they're doing something good for their body.
Right.
It's a sad state to be in, but that's why we have this. We have all the knowledge we need right at our fingertips. So we need to do our own research and be proactive in making sure that we put the right stuff in our body. If we care about our bodies, right? This is you hear people say this is a temple, but at the same time, I mean, really, it's a bio-organic machine, and your soul is the pilot, and the soul has to make sure that it does maintenance on the body, right? Stretching, stuff like that. And if it doesn't, then it's robot transportation on this earth. The only way for our soul to survive on this realm is going to break down too early for it to actually experience everything that it needs to. And that's fine, right? So the soul will leave the body and go and get a new one. But
like, well, that one didn't work out. Let's try.
Yeah,
let's still try.
Better
again.
luck next time. Like that's why you come out as a baby and not as a full-grown person. Because if you're a full-grown person that could walk right out of the gate, you'd get hit by a car pretty quickly. Because you'd be like, "Oh, friend," goosh, and then you'd be like, don't do that. Don't next time. Better luck next time. No, you come out as a baby so people can like pick you up and be like, yeah, don't walk towards the street, baby. And the baby's like, meh. So, like, I want shiny. I mean, meh. So, yeah, that's a very interesting conversation.
This went from that. That's like, meh. I'm a baby.
I'm a baby.
It's funny because the girls and I were talking about that a while ago. Like, it's so cool how certain species that need to get up and run right away, like zebras or like cows, and, like a lot of those like hooved animals.
Yeah.
Within like 10 minutes or something, they're kind of up and they're a little wobbly at first, and then you see them like an hour later and they're like kind of trotting around. And I don't know if it's quite that time frame, but it's closer to that than.
Yeah.
And
they have to because of predators.
Yep.
But we don't have to because we are strictly 100% codependent on our parents. If popped a baby out and then like kicked it to the side and was like, go do your thing, and expect it would die within the matter of minutes without human contact and stuff like that, So like, okay, maybe not minutes, but I'm exaggerating. But it would die because it needs that codependency, which should transition into that idea. Codependency, something that I've been learning. Really codependent. Like, there's nothing wrong with a certain level of codependency, is that what I've learned? But at the same time, codependency is very predominant. We're codependent on our computers, on technology, on people, and you should be, to a certain extent, codependent on your community for help and stuff like that. But there's a toxic level of everything, right? Because we humans like to bastardize good things sometimes. Again, it's okay. But we tend to be overly codependent on people.
Well, it's like goes back to that idea of like using a medicine as a drug. Toxic codependency, whether it's relationships or friends, and that could look so many
Even
different ways.
On your parents, like the point where like you grow up and you're 30 years old and you haven't left the house yet.
Yeah. Yeah, just not knowing that, not leaving the nest.
Like, get out of the house! You're a preteen. Go get married. That's what they would treat you like 300-400 years ago. You're of age to turn the butter and have 20 kids.
Yeah, 20.
I like languages.
Yeah.
I do study a lot of languages. Ancient Sumerian was one of them. Mandarin is something that I really like, and for some reason it comes relatively easily to me.
Mandarin does?
Yeah.
That's how Japanese was for me. It was
Yeah.
like effortless. Like I just really
Yeah, I was like,
connected with
oh,
it.
this is not hard to pronounce this.
Is Pinyin Mandarin?
Pinyin is Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Pinyin is the Romanized writing of the pronunciation.
okay.
Poetry place,
Yeah.
so you can do your haiku.
I have a lot more poetry and haikus, but I don't want to read them.
Then you could just stand next to me up there. You don't have to talk. You want to know how you get good at something?
By listening to it a bunch.
Shush. No.
Nobody asked you.
No, you're good. No, you get good at something by doing it. So we were just talking about this, like, right? We don't know what we're doing. There's this strange. Okay, come here.
Yes,
Be in-
come
be in
join
the
us. Join us, Lona.
There's this strange idea that adults know what they're doing. We don't.
I don't either.
Yes, you don't know what you're doing. That's neither do us. But how do we?
We're just bigger versions of you.
Yeah, we're just children, just like you. And with
Children
just
of the universe.
yeah, we've experienced a little bit more things than you. Your brain is only however old you are.
What if her soul was actually older than our souls?
Literally, we don't know what we're doing just as much as you don't know what you're doing. So therefore, the only way for us to figure out and know what we're doing is to attempt to do it. So I'm not saying that you should stand up there and read your poetry and force yourself to do something that's uncomfortable, but I'm also saying you should do that. Because the only way to actually grow is to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. For instance, the lobster. The lobster is believed to possibly be immortal. No one's ever witnessed a lobster die in the wild. It's only been killed by humans. Lobsters can grow to be this big.
That's awesome.
And you want to know how they grow? They have to shed their shell. Their shells it's a very uncomfortable process. They go hide underneath a rock, shed their shell, and then they grow a new shell. It's a long and arduous process. I don't know if I said that word correctly.
I don't even know what that word is.
Arduous process. And so, but that's the only way you can grow. You have to shed that shell, and you have to be uncomfortable.
Well, it's kind of like the idea of, we were talking about babies learning how to walk. It's like babies didn't know how to learn. They didn't know how to walk until they tried. They had to keep trying.
And they fell.
And they
fell. They bumped their head. They cried. They pooped their pants. They fell. They pooped their pants. They cried.
And then pooped their pants again.
And
then they did it.
And then they peed on their parent.
Oh, my baby brother peed on the couch once.
Exactly.
He ripped off his diaper and just started peeing on the couch.
Went to town. You told me a story earlier today where you were talking about going, and it actually, okay, so you were talking about going out, and when you're feeling really stressed out, what do you do?
When I'm feeling really stressed out, I find like a patch of grass to lay on, and then I like plant myself in it and like make it like firm so I'm like not moving, and I focus on my breath. And you can like feel the earth's heart beating, and it like calms me down and it gives me more calm energy.
Cool. Grounding energy, we would call that.
Yeah.
Literally grounding.
You know, this is the grounding mat.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So
yeah.
you can do it inside when you're.
You can do that. Just realize you get to this point in life. I'm not saying that you're going to get to it now, even after me telling you this. You get to this point in your life where you realize that you can find that peace no matter where you are. Even if there's no grass to lay down and ground. Yeah, great. You should do it. Find a tree if you need to. Hug it. But
I climb trees a lot.
That peace is inside you. Always. 100% of the time. So when you have to do something stressful, like be in front of people and read and talk, or dance in front of people that you don't know, like you have to find that peace within you so you can do it. And the best way to do it is to not even think. And just do. Try or do not. There is no do. Or no, do or do not. There is no try.
It's do or do not. There is no
Do
try.
or do not.
My
There
art
is no try.
teacher has
Yoda.
that poster in her
Yoda.
room.
So, like, just do. Just do it. Don't let your thoughts come in and, like, stop you from doing it. What are your thoughts saying about you going in front of, like, people and reading your poems?
Like, what if I mess up and then everybody's got
What if? Now answer that question. What if you mess up? Are these people going to follow you back home for the rest of your life and make fun of you for it? No. Not only that, can you read their mind? So how do you know that's what they're thinking? How do you know that their thoughts are just making fun of you and like, oh, that girl sucked. Like they're not thinking that. So, like, how do you know that that's what they're thinking? Why do our minds go to the worst case scenario? Right? Why, like, when we do something, our mind goes to the worst thing ever that could happen. You want to know why it does that? To keep us safe. Because the familiar is safe. Because when we were a long time ago, hundreds, thousands, and according to forbidden archaeology, possibly even millions of years ago, when we were like out in the wild, cavemen, basically, we had one safe space, and that was by the fire with our tribe. If we left that fire in the tribe at night, we might get eaten by some kind of animal, and it was dangerous.
Like a dino.
A dino, saber-tooth tiger,
Giant lobsters.
giant lobsters,
Saber-tooth dino lobsters.
saber-tooth dino lobsters.
Yep.
The Kraken.
Godzilla.
The Kraken.
Godzilla.
Cthulhu. So the point that I'm trying to make is though that you can you just realize that the things that your thoughts are doing is just trying to help you, but you can talk to it and go, hey, I appreciate your concern, but I think I got this. And if I mess up, oh well. Like I literally said several things wrong. But who am I to judge wrong from right? But I've said things. I already said a word wrong. I said the Yoda quote wrong. So,
That made me sad.
I know. Me too. And it was such a good
She's
Yoda.
gonna follow you home and judge you now.
Yeah, I will. How do you feel about
And you know how I feel about that? I don't care.
See, because you can laugh at it. It's like, oh, that was funny. I said that wrong, and then you can laugh.
Try or
try or try do not?
There is no
try or do. There is no not.
So you could get up there and you could start saying your poem and say it backwards, just like you would if you were sitting here and you read me the poem and you're like, oh wait, I said that wrong, and you'd laugh and say it again. You can do the exact same thing in front of a microphone.
Yeah, but those are like a bunch of random strangers that I don't know.
But then they'll know you, and
Even
they'll
better.
Yeah,
Because you don't have to go home with them or ever see them again. And if you do see them again, maybe they'll say to you, right, instead of the worst case scenario, what's the best case scenario? One of them goes, hey, you read that poem? And like it really like helped me. It really put things in perspective. I like your vibe. Keep doing that. What if someone says that? Huh? Why didn't you think of that? Like, don't go to the worst case scenario. Go to the best case scenario. I think I just spit on myself. Got me all hyped up. Let's go read some poetry. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This is called Read Between the Lives. The guides of your lives are found in tiny size, broken pinky toes and tear-filled eyes, soaking silky prose you can't even verbalize. The blessing of the wise come from the wounds of the traumatized. I know, what a surprise. Halfway through life and you just now realize exactly why people enjoy the sunrise. Finally understand that you're the damn man, divine in disguise, winding rivers and blue skies, all are created within your eyes. My, that's a lot to digest. I hope you got an appetite. I'm sorry, I digress. Do you want to eat outside? Wait, don't forget your supersized large fries, though your hunger will never be satisfied, and every bite you'll just apologize. All that aside, you've survived to enjoy the momentary sublime delight found only inside. I come to realize that I give the best advice, and sometimes I'm just mesmerized that I've ever despised my inner guides. What I'm trying to say is, you'll memorize the lies and emphasize your own demise. Try and rationalize the pain, but bastardize all the good that came from what remains. mobilized by your brain and the mental threshold that restrains. Becoming aware of the weakest link allows you to break the chain. Everything contains a message that can only be explained by divine intelligence deep in your veins. Every time it rains, its benevolent gift pertains to you and your life campaign. So after reading all that I proclaim, the question that remains is, do you feel the same?
Actually, still healing from that broken pinky toe.
It's still recording.
Oh. Okay.
You can find this book on Amazon. Go leave me a review. There it goes.
Walking in my thoughts.
Come take a walk with me.
Song.
Walking in my thoughts.
It'd be like an hour-long song, just like
Walking
to read all of those
just
poems.
talking. Try or do not. Try or not. It doesn't matter.
Try or not, there is no.
There is
That made me so mad.
But that's the other best part about that is now you have an inside joke. So next time you see Matt, you're definitely gonna say that,
So-
and it's gonna be a funny thing.
My suggestion is when you get up there, make a joke. Mess up on purpose. Go up there and try to say the worst poem ever. Come up with something off the top of your dome, right? Just go be like, blue roses do or not try. Like, like I don't care. Like, it doesn't have to rhyme. Just say it. Get people like laughing a little bit. And once you see them laughing, it'll make you feel a little bit less stress. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Expand. Vibrantly.
Vibrantly.
Okay.
That was perfect.
It's fixing the tea.
I fixed the tea
Oh, I like it.
because it annoyed me.
I fixed the tea because it annoyed me. That should be a poem in there.
I fixed the tea because it annoyed me.
Hold on.
All about frugality. I tell you one thing, I tell you two. I tell you once, I'll tell you twice. Look at me, I'm very nice. Oh, so, oh.
Yo. The O. That's what you should be filming, Seven. It's him fixing that.
He has to fix our book.
I don't like. Oh my god, chapter is right on the edge. See, I gotta go in here. I should have ordered practice copy first. It just says HOTS.
Now it says thoughts. The T got cut off.
He fixed the tea, fixed the tea.
Mm-hmm.
E T.
E.T.
Okay. Ah!
What's that one?
T.
It's all the T's. I fixed the T because it annoyed me.
There, yes.
You know what's funny is I didn't even notice that those were cut off. Are you sure you're okay?
You asked what my name said.
No, I can tell what that said, but not Addison.
Ow.
It looks like it says Addison.
It looks like it says Addison.
Ah! Addison.
Addison.
Addison. Looks like it says Addison.
You know what? Don't you judge my. This is my other.
Addison. What does your F look like that?
It's an N.
I know, but
Because the curse of N looks like a curse of M for some reason.
A regular M, not a cursive M. A cursive M is 3 humps. It's a back straight.
Tattoo.
It's not even showing up that well.
I was
What
going to do a
happens?
smiley face. Now I'm not.
No.
Are you
Let me
eating
see your tattoo.
chocolate wasabi?
Wow.
Wasabi.
I know what that looks like.
Chocolate wasabi, guys. Look, guys.
Wasabi.
She's eating
Wasabi.
food.
Okay, that looks good.
Oh my gosh! I thought Lona was an image on the pillow. Like it looks like she's just like a head on the pillow, and I'm like,
That's a great idea. I can just be
Just
like
stay
this.
still.
Just stay like this, and then I'll be
Turn
like.
your head slightly to the side. Slightly to the side and look up. There, now it looks like an heart.
Act scared and surprised.
No, that's acting. It's not authentic.
What? So what?
You have to actually scare us and surprise. Are you gonna actually hide behind the pillows and pop out?
Once, and then that's just gonna go. Who is this child?
I'm trying.
Your toilet paper fell out of the bookmark.
uh-oh.
And the pages aren't numbered, so you're screwed.
Is it on the
Wait.
team?
I have the personalized
Okay.
copy.
I need to do a tattoo on Matt.
Compass. I already had it where I needed it, baby.
Okay.
You want
Here,
the
can you-
you want the candles. She wants the wall accent.
What did you want in the shot?
I don't know.
You don't know?
She's just trying to help.
I was trying to
Okay.
see.
I'm just trying to help.
Trying to
Oh,
see
my.
if the screen could be brighter.
I'll show the
screen
rest of
good?
my fingers.
Screen could be brighter.
Not painting.
Well, then we have.
Yo.
Should I wear my glasses and look smart?
No.
Okay.
Only when you really. You should be like.
I wrote a book of poems and then pull it off when you talk about other things and we talk about the book, put the glasses on.
This is good. This is getting good.
We should start and have like a.
Does everybody have
Welcome,
glasses?
Yes,
I just can't read things from far away.
Meetings are.
I know, but
I like
it'd be
circles.
really funny if everybody had a pair of glasses on, and every single time I took mine off, everyone took theirs off. At the same
Yes.
time.
Oh my god! And I could just pop out of the pillows like, well, like pop out of the pillows, and then I'm just like, yes.
I need to hide it.
That's the intro.
No, I need to hide it.
That's gonna be the intro. Tell Heidi.
Oh no. The intro before the intro. Here, take these ones.
Be the intro. I'm gonna pop out of the pillows. I'm gonna go. Welcome back.
Wait, are you? So hold on. We have a poetry thing that we're gonna try to get to.
Let's focus, guys.
You're gonna pop out of the pillow. So let's make them.
Well, my idea was that
We'll make
she's
up
like hiding behind the back of the pillows, and then she just like pops up and then goes back down.
All right, Compass, where are you gonna be at?
I feel like I'm so giant.
How can you do that?
There we go.
So, just as a practice, Luna, pop up.
Lona.
Lona, whatever. Moon girl, pop up. Yes, perfect. All right, good like that.
Sorry, hold on, I'm clearing my throat. I'm like
Stuff like that. What's up,
Hello.
Sky Zone?
Sky Zone.
Oh, that's a big one too. We could probably go into that for like an hour. Chapter 4 is the awakening, and that's I say that loosely.
Yeah.
And even though
I
we're
just
physically
remembered
older-
something. My
She lived
dad's
my past
friend.
life.
Do you know Sabrina?
Yeah.
Sabrina once said, babies are kind of just like tiny drunk people.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
pretty much.
yeah,
So
makes sense.
Shiny car.
Is that the right one?
Yes.
That's the right one. Thank you. Let me check something real quick.
This is why I bought the book. This is why I made the book. I made the book. I got kids.
Roses are red, violets
It's
are
like
blue.
the Three
I want to
Stooges.
stop you with this shoe. Just so you know, you smell like poo. Faces like yours belong in the zoo. Well, that's way too many syllables.
Let's put the phones away. Can we put the phones away?
Coca-Cola.
You don't even drink
No, I'm
Coca-Cola.
just kidding.
yeah, you're like
No.
what?
No.
Okay, 20 cats.
Yeah, you'll have 20 cats because that's where she's at now. That's where her
Dude, she's gonna be crazy. Cat
her love
lady.
is at.
She's gonna be crazy. We're talking about 7, by the way.
Yeah,
How cool is that? This girl's name is a number.
7.
It'd be so cool if her name had 7 letters in it.
But it only has 5.
7.
Maybe her life number is 7. Like her life path number.
17.
7T has 7 letters.
17.
But it doesn't have 70 letters. That's the
Disappointment.
that's the
The English language is disappointing.
I didn't know that was a skill set, honestly. So
Oh, this is live.
No, it's not live.
Why does it say live?